Are we ready now? We're ready? Okay, we got sound? Gentle with this time. Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Tom Coates, and welcome to the Richmond, Central Virginia IONS Community Group monthly meeting for September 2022. As those who've been here before know, IONS is a organization headquartered in Petaluma, California. It's a 501c3. It is something that was started by Edgar Mitchell, who was the lunar landing module pilot for Apollo 14 back in 1970 or so, 71, I'm not sure which. And he started it in 1973 as a result of his epiphany, or his unity consciousness experience, after walking on the moon and on his way back to Earth, looking and seeing the Earth off in space as a pale blue dot and so forth, and having an onset of the unity of all being and consciousness and so forth, and resolved at that moment to dedicate the rest of his life to exploring the frontiers of consciousness, especially the interface between science and spirit. And that IONS was set up as a vehicle for that, and it continues it with that mission today. Richmond has been blessed to have one of the more viable community groups in the entire global network of IONS, which has been in continuous operation since January 1996, and we have been blessed because we've had a community of interest from the locality, from people who've been willing to serve on the steering committee throughout the time, and it's always been a group effort and remains successful today because of that. On our steering committee now, we have myself, we have Bunny Cairo Justin, who's in the audience today. We have Martha Mullen, who's in the audience today. We have Elizabeth Kuhn, who is our web what do you call it, webmeister, web person, and we have Sally Youngs, who's been our treasurer for a number of years, and we also I think Carol is getting ready to get off the committee, and let's see who else is coming on now. Susanna Wupong Calvert is going to be coming on the committee. And so we've been really blessed through the years to have a number of interested people who have been willing to contribute their time and effort to helping us month after month after month after year after year after year. We get ready to complete our 26th year, going into our 27th. Let's see, maybe we're starting our 28th. I can't remember, but anyway, January of 2023, I guess we'll be starting our 27th year, and very few groups around the country or around the world have been successful at staying around that long, much less putting on programs of the nature and quality that we've been successful at putting on here. So we're very, very blessed. We're very grateful to the support we've had within the community and at large from speakers all over the country, and some from foreign countries that have presented to us here, both in person and on Zoom. And we are blessed to have both an in-person presence and a Zoom presence, which we began in the spring of 2020 as a result of the pandemic, and having lost an ability to meet in person as a result of the rules that follow the pandemic. And we've continued with that even after resuming in-person meetings to make ourselves available to those who want to join us from distant locations, or even those who are still not comfortable coming out and engaging in person as a result of COVID. And I would like to add that as a result of the efforts of Carol Louie, we now are beginning to develop a recorded library of speaker programs going back, I think, to July of 2021. Is that right, Dan? Yeah, so we've got anyone who wants to go online and see old programs going back to, I think it was July 2021 when we had Ray Moody as our presenter, and every month forward from there, they're available online on our Facebook page, and you can either go directly to Facebook or you can go to our website at richmondislands.com, and there's a link to the Facebook page. You have to be a Facebook member, which I'm not, but most of us know people who are Facebook members, even if we are not. And so I urge you to do that and take advantage of that. As of now, there's no charge for it, and we welcome anybody to go on there and look at any of the programs we've had. Our programs going back to early 2014 are identified by name and speaker and a copy of the flyer on our website, and so we welcome people perusing that as well. Also, we do not have dues in our group. The only thing that's required for membership is just showing up either in person or online. But we urge those who are interested in our group to make donations, because we do have expenses that we have to carry every month. To have our online presence, sometimes we have speaker stipends and so forth, and also for our space here at the River Road United Methodist Church, which is a really wonderful space to be having the meetings in. And so when we pass the the basket in the during the meeting, we ask for love offerings from those here. We ask you to dip deeply into your wallet and into your heart, and where the two meet, we ask you to put that in the basket. And we ask those online to do the same thing. We can do that through PayPal on our website, and we appreciate all those donations we get, because that's the only way we survive as a group. All right. I think that covers the announcements for today, and so before we begin, we'll have a brief opening meditation. I'd ask everybody to just sort of put your feet flat on the floor, Robert, and get into a relaxed position, and close your eyes if it relaxes you. If you want to leave your eyes open, that's fine too. And let's take about 3 deep breaths. By going through this exercise, we are relaxing our bodies and becoming more conscious of our breathing and our bodies, and of the energy that our bodies represent. Our speaker today is going to help us engage that still further, but in order to get ready for that, take a couple more deep breaths, relax, open yourself up to learning about an energy system that all of us have heard of, but few of us know much, if anything, about it. And when you're ready, open your eyes and we'll resume the program. All right. Today we have a speaker named Scott Moore, who has had a exceptional career, first as a military pilot, then as a commercial pilot, and then he got into being a personal life coach and so forth, and it's for many years studied the Tantra, which is an energy system that all of us have heard of from India. We mostly hear about it in reference to tantric sex practices and so forth, and but as Scott will point out, that is only the less than 5% of the total teachings of the tantric energy system. It is something that all of us could benefit from knowing about, and it is something that we have in our midst someone who is quite expert at it. It has to do not only with moving energy to help others, but also with moving energy within ourselves. So without further ado, I give you Scott Moore. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. I like to be a little bit mobile, so I'm going to move around a bit rather than be tied to the podium. If we can get my slides up when you get a chance there, Dan. I come not from a foreign land. I come from Short Pump, so not that far. It probably once. It had a tavern with a short pump, so it probably was. All right, so today we're going to talk about Tantra. Tantra is defined as the science of energy. And, hang on. Okay. Well, closer to the mic. All right. All right, we'll try this again. So Tantra is defined as the science of energy. It can be defined, and it's not just for amazing sex, because that is the entry point. Everybody hears Tantra and they think of Sting back in the day and bragging about all of these powers and all of these things, but that's just a very small piece of it. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We did the meditation begin. I would invite you all, I always invite my talks that we all come to the now, because the past is already written, can't be changed. Future is yet to come. It'll happen. But all we have is the now. And so if we just can take a moment and focus in and gather in community today, and we'll share this now together, which will affect our future. So this is me. And the first thing I was going to share, and this is not my updated slides, so that's really interesting. Somehow we got bungled up. I think I'll talk a little bit first about me. This is actually taken in Estonia. I just got back last week. I was in Estonia for a couple of weeks taking a Tantra massage therapist course with someone at a Tantra school, and it was an amazing experience. This thing's not working. All right. There's going to be lots of, because it's here. So I started out as a military pilot, and I flew several different airplanes. This is a T-37, a T-38. Those were in training. I was a C-141 Starlifter pilot. I flew all over the world, made it to all 7 continents. Flew the C-12 King Air and the T-3 Slingsby Firefly. This taught cadets how to fly at the Air Force Academy. So probably one of my more hazardous duties. And then I ended my career flying the C-17 Globemaster, which is still in use as the primary cargo airlifter for the Air Force. That was a really great airplane. World's largest video game, I call it. You can see that I changed over the years as I grew up and got older. And what's interesting is the airplanes got bigger and the hair got smaller. There's some sort of relationship there through my Air Force career. So then I became a corporate pilot. I got a job offer. I was stationed in Tacoma, Washington at McCord Air Force Base, and I got a job offer for this small company called Luckstone here in Mannequin Sabot, Virginia. What the heck? But they had a business aircraft. I went from the C-17 to that, a King Air a C-90B. It was an older airplane, 6 passengers, kind of dated. And pretty soon I said, we need a new airplane. So we got a King Air 350, brand new off the shelf, 9-passenger airplane. It was fantastic. And then we kind of outgrew that and got the Phenom 300 jet that they're still flying today. They had a replacement to this one, so it's the second Phenom. They had an airport out at Rockville along the Ashland Road there, the quarry there. We had our own airport, and sometimes people would see us flying in, call the sheriff and say we're crashing, but there was an airport there. And now it's no longer there because there was too much stone underneath it, and they needed to dig the stone out for the quarry. So now this plane is over at Hanover County Airport. That's where they're operating. They have a hangar over there now. Can you move me forward? Can you just have it on the screen from the camera? Because I'm not able to move forward. No, it's not going to show real well, is it? I'm just going to continue on a bit. So one of the things about Luckstone, now Luck Companies, they're really big into leadership. And they help companies and nonprofits with leadership called values-based leadership. And so I got involved in that program, and I really enjoyed it. And so we had a couple coaches at the company, and I thought, I could probably do that. Okay. Advance it. Because I can't advance it. There we go. It gets stuck. One more. One more. Yeah. So I thought I could probably be a coach. I should take a class and go do that. And so I did. And there was a woman named Kathy Harmon in Mechanicsville that was teaching classes, and I had to come up with my life purpose. And my life purpose is this. I use the energy from igniting hope in others to transport people from the unknown to the connected, raising our vibration levels and allowing us each to choose a better version of ourselves. And once I saw that life purpose, I said, I've been in the wrong job for 30 years. I never wanted to be a pilot when I was a little kid, unlike 95% of all the other pilots in the world. It was something I did. I was at the Air Force Academy, I graduated, I became a pilot. And so I made a decision to leave aviation, form my own company, and do coaching, leadership classes, and speaking engagements. And I've been doing that now for 6 years. As part of my coach training, I had to come up with a practicum to work on myself. So my practicum was to explore and experience unfamiliar spiritual practices in order to see how they might impact my life and my coaching. My partner in coaching school, her name was Jamie Dawn. Some of you may know her. She's a rather renowned psychic. She lives now in Reno, Nevada. And she was my partner in coaching school. Here's a pilot with a degree in chemistry, and Jamie Dawn, a psychic. And so at first she said, I kind of said, oh, that must be really good for you that you're a psychic. That she says that was my reaction. But I got to know her, and she runs a mystery school out west, and I thought I'll just do a little mystery school of myself. And actually coming to Ions was part of that back in this day. So I did shamanic illumination, I did Reiki, psychic reading, I spent a weekend at a Tantra experience, did eye gazing, past life regression a couple times, between lives regression, crystal healing, did a drum circle, did all these things. And what I found is that they weren't nothing. They were not nothing. There was something to each of these things. And I decided I wanted to explore a little bit more. And I got called to go to Tantra massage training in Brazil, of all places, taught by this company from Estonia, Somananda Tantra School, whose chief, the guru is Somananda. And I saw this video and it kind of said, I think I want to do this. So I'm going to play a little bit of this and let you experience it. And stand by because we've got to do some technical swapping. The person giving the massage, her name's Lisa Maiman, and she is the instructor that taught me in the last few weeks. All right, Danny. So we'll go ahead and cut that short. It continues on. You can go online to YouTube and see these videos. So what the heck's going on here? Right? Is this all just a fake thing? Is this all just magic and pre-coordination? Actually, Somananda went to Netherlands, I think, or Belgium or someplace, and they did a scientific study on him doing massage and hooked up the subjects to brain waves, did some double blind where they would have him give the massage and then they would step in and the host of the show would try to do it and nothing would happen and then someone on it would come back and stuff would happen. And so there, and having been both the recipient and the practitioner, let me tell you, there's nothing fake. All right, he'll get us going again. Okay, and I apologize to the Zoom folks. We'll get you back going with the slides as soon as we can. All right. Click me one time, maybe. There we go. So where does Tantra come from? It comes from ancient texts written 5,000 to 6,000 years ago in India. They are 64 agamas, they're called them. Some have been lost, some are tightly held, but they figure that only 5% of them have to do with sex. The reason that sex is included at all is sexual energy is one of the most powerful forms of life energy because it's the only one that creates life. So you can move other types of energy through the body, but the sexual energy is actually the most potent. So there's okay, it's working, so that's good. Okay. So an agama is a scripture, if you will. An agama is one of the books of yoga that were written long ago. Yeah. So any other questions while we're waiting here? Yeah. I don't know. Now, the first part I do know. So you asked when she's moving energy through the body about chronic illnesses. In Tantra, I'm going to talk about the various bodies, but the physical body is a manifestation of the energetic or astral body. So if you are able to clear blockages and influences in the energetic body, theoretically, the physical body will heal. So there's many examples of people who have had cancer or had some chronic conditions who have really dived in deep into energetics, and those physical maladies have gone away. So through yoga, through moving energy, tantra massage, these sorts of things, yes, you can influence and deal with chronic illnesses. Yeah, and even not so chronic illnesses, you can. It's sometimes skin conditions or different kinds of things can be related to energy. So there's two types. There's right-handed tantra and left-handed tantra. And right-handed tantra uses all the energy, but not through sex. So if you think about it, it's similar to in Christianity, you can have this ascetic lifestyle where you're a priest, you're a nun, you can devote yourself to spiritual progression, but not really, you cut yourself off from that sexual piece of life. That's right-hand tantra. The left-hand tantra uses sexuality and tantra both together to move forward. The white and the red, the white is the most spiritual type of tantra, which uses energy to pursue spiritual goals, to help in your spiritual development. The red is primarily used for sexual pleasure. So many of the schools and tantra experiences you'll see, particularly in the US, are more red tantra. They're just basically designed to help you have better sex. And what drew me to Somananda is they are much more focused on the white. And it's all done, although sex is involved, it's done for spiritual progression. So we're talked a little bit at the bodies. They're called koshas, and there are 5 koshas. So if you start on the upper right there, it says the Atman. The Atman is the soul, and that is a multidimensional being that inhabits this flesh. If we start in the middle, the Annamaya Korsha, the physical body, that's the one we're most familiar with. It's our cells, it's our body, it's the thing that we know. The energetic body, they call it the vital, the pranamaya korsha, is made of prana, life energy. and it extends about 2 centimeters, give or take, outside the physical body. This is primarily what Lisa was massaging, was moving energy through when she was doing her massage. They actually teach astral Tantra massage, where you can do energetic massage via Zoom, and it works. I've tried it myself. You can get some nice energetic effects. What you're not doing is you're not interfacing the two bodies. If you're in person and pressing on a particular point, you're at the junction of the physical and the astral body, the energetic body, and so you can affect more than one level. So the energetic body, like I said, provides the blueprints for the physical body. That's why, you know, people that amputated an arm, they might have phantom pain in that limb that's been lost. That's the energetic body that still exists. The energetic body has not been amputated, and so it still may be there. If we go one more level out, the mental body, in this case, they call it the mental body. I call it the emotional body. The emotional body extends about 2 to 3 feet, maybe up to 6 feet from you, depending on how enraged you are. But the emotional body comes, we've all experienced this. When you're at work and all of a sudden Debbie Downer comes in with her misery and grief, and all of a sudden the whole energy of the room lowers. Or someone comes in an excited mood, and all of a sudden everybody gets happier. When you come up to someone, you say, well, what's wrong? Is everything okay? You're feeling something in that emotional body that extends from each of us. And the one more layer beyond that is what they call the wisdom body, but it's also can be thought of as the mental body. The mental body is much larger. It's all around us, and it allows us to create our thoughts. So these are the things, excuse me. So the mental body allows us to use our mind and create new patterns to affect the world around us by using our mind. So it might be you're sending your wishes or your prayers to someone. You might be manifesting the mental body in creating ideas. These can attract and repel people around you just as well. In my chemistry background, if you think about it in science, we are electrical beings. Everything that we see, everything we hear, everything we taste, all are a basis of electrical signals that travel through our body to our brain, which then perceives them. The light that we see are photons that are reflected, striking our eyes, the same thing. So if you move energy through a wire, the one thing that is constant is it generates a magnetic field. It's a given. It's a known thing. So if you think of all the energy flowing through our bodies, we're creating massive magnetic fields that can interact with magnetic fields around us. And they've measured them, and the brain has a magnetic field that's a certain strength, but the heart is far greater in that strength of magnetic field because of the larger portions of energy that are used in our beating heart, in our emotional body, and that sort of thing. So the last body is the bliss body, or the causal body. This is a subtle form of body. This is why coincidences happen. This is your path on this planet. It is the reason you are here. It is the way your life is structured to be. And we can see this causal body show up with coincidences, with, boy, I thought about this person and they called me. Or I wanted to go on a trip and all of a sudden I got a deal in my inbox for half price. You know, these are causal body type functions. And then, of course, because yoga people are like this, they say, oh, and there's 2 more bodies, but you don't need to learn about them right now. So we're going to play a little bit with these bodies. If you can go to the next slide, I think, or here, where did my clicker go? Here it is. we're going to do a little energetic exercise and see if we can experience this body type maneuver. So for those of you at home, if you have someone nearby, you can grab them and do this. I'll demonstrate up front. But the way this is going to work, we're going to pair up. There's some room over here and there's some room over here. We're going to pair up with each other and maybe stand 6 feet apart, something like that. Trish, you want to? I know you, so come on up if you would, and we'll do a little demo. And we're going to do this for 5 minutes where one person is in control and the other person responds. Now, the person that's in control, you have 3 commands. One command as you move in, we'll say stop. And feel what interactions, what connection there may be. We're not looking in eyes. This is basically a sensory type position. Okay, and Trish, a little more. Stop. Feel what kind of interactions am I having there? Okay, stop. And you can do this to your comfort, to your consent. See, doesn't that feel sad? So we're going to do this for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll switch roles and just kind of feel what happens. You can come very close. This is not a touching game, though. We're not touching anyone else. We're just going to experiment. Thank you, Trish, for that. We're just going to experiment with how this energy feels, because you should be interacting. Well, the mental body is always around us, but you might feel the emotional body a bit. You might feel the energetic body. And so why don't we take 5 minutes? And so we'll form 2 lines over on this side, 2 lines over on this side, maybe 6 to 8 feet apart. And let's go ahead and do this for a bit. So the 3 commands, you don't say anything. You just come forward is one, stop is the other one. And you can do this. And the people who are moving move rather slowly, because there's, a couple inches might make a bit of a difference. So, and then stop and then go away. If you do, let me know. If you get an energy orgasm doing this, you let me know. Everybody have a partner? Find a partner. Who doesn't have a partner? Raise their hands. We need one more over here. Yeah, and you can be rather close side to side. You don't need room. You're only moving forward and back. So make sure you're directly across from someone, though. All right. So the ones who are closest to me in each group, raise your hand. You're going to go first, just so we know. All right. And start far apart. Start like 6 to 8. With the controller, you're going to be controlling first, the ones who raise their hand, and the other people are the receivers, if you will. No, it doesn't matter. You're only paying attention to the person across from you. All right, go ahead and go. All right, I think if you want, we'll go ahead and switch roles now. So start far away, and the other person gets to drive. All right, when you're ready, we can wrap this up and you can go ahead and take your seat. All right, anybody like to share something that they observed or felt during that exercise? And I guess you got to come to the mic. If you could step to the mic, that way people at home.
As I moved closer, I could feel that I was going through distinct boundaries or layers. I couldn't name them, but I could feel them.
This is a really good exercise to examine boundaries, your own personal boundaries. How do you let people in? How do you bring them apart? There is a lot of interface with boundaries, but those boundaries are those energetic boundaries that you're facing. Anybody else?
In addition to the motions, the expression of your eyes also communicate. So there is that, I could feel working with the feelings, but also with your eyes. So your eyes also give commands.
Did anybody feel some emotions pop up? A little bit of emotion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
What was your experience?
Well, it's kind of hard because the person I was with is a personal friend,
Okay.
and she makes me laugh all the time. She has a great sense of humor. So I had to control that and absorb the energy that she was giving me, but also the expression in her eyes.
Okay, thank you. I know some people feel really sad when they're sending folks away, or they feel really happy or feel really threatened when someone's coming close. Those are some things that can pop up when you're doing this kind of exercise. But keep in mind, it's all energy. It's all energy that and different people have different energy that may or may not align with your energy. And so doing this with different people is going to create different results as well. So now let's go one more layer. We talked about the bodies. Let's talk a little bit about chakras. And so these chakras are energetic points along the spine system. The spine is the conduit of energy channels in the spine and on either side of the spine. But the chakras are actually located on the front of the body. There's connections through the body to the spine where the energy is moved. Now, I'm giving you, you all may have different conceptions of these chakras, where they're located, what they do. I'm giving you the Somananda Tantra School version of it. Like Somananda, we met with him online during the class. He goes, they don't have rainbow colors like this. There's no such thing as that. That's all sort of a Western interpretation. They have colors, but they're not these particular colors. That's sort of a new age sort of addition to the ancient text. But we'll start at the bottom, Muladhara chakra. Muladhara chakra is the root chakra, and it's located, for men, it's between the base of the penis and the anus. For women, it's at the introitus, the entrance of the vagina. That's a physical location. Now, each of these chakras is about 10 centimeters in diameter, and at the middle of it, they have what they call the bija, is the seed. And so each of these chakras have different numbers of petals that are different modes that can engage and store energy, move energy, that sort of thing. I think 4 is down at the Muladhara has, off the top of my head, has 4. But the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, has to do with safety, security, our basic core functions. It's connected to earth energy, and it is a battery that allows us to exist in our lives. If we go up one more, Svadhisthana chakra, that is the sacral chakra. Where it's physically located is about 2 centimeters above the root of the penis or of the clitoral area. It's in the front of our body. It is designed for basically relationships, sexuality, emotions, these sorts of things. Most of the world today lives in this Svadhisthana chakra. It's a lot of drama, a lot of chaos. There's a lot of negativity that can be associated with it, but also a lot of positivity as well. For most people, there's no need to strengthen the Svadhisthana chakra. It's already like fully charged all the time by our society. We go up one more chakra when we get to Manipura. And Manipura is the navel chakra, and it's located about 1 centimeter or 2 below the belly button. And now some people say, well, no, it's up here at the solar plexus. And Somananda addressed that. He goes, well, you can think that, but it's wrong. So science has shown this is where it is. And having experienced it for me in my body, it is here below the belly button. This is also, the solar plexus is a very important energy point associated with the Manipura, but it is not a chakra in itself. If it works for you, do it. I'm not going to tell you, I'm just repeating what I've been told. But Manipura is the seat of our ego. It's our power, personal power. It's our strength. And ego gets a bad rap. Ego is a very good thing because it helps us go through the world, but it also can be a very bad thing because it may hold us back. But that is all Manipura chakra. And if you want more power in your life, do the things that strengthen the Manipura chakra. For many people, there's a blockage between the Svadhisthana and the Manipura chakra, which is allowing them to stay out of their power. So that's an area that you can do some work. And this results many times in digestive issues. Those sorts of things are associated with Manipura chakra. Anahata is at the heart. It's in the center of the breastbone, between the nipples for men and wherever that corresponding area would be for women, because nipples may be different places, but it's right in the center of the chest. What's interesting about once you get from the lower 3 chakras to the upper 4, now the qualities of the chakras change. There are no negative sort of sides to the upper 4 chakras. Anahata is about love. It's about relationships. It's about love, basically. And there's, if you think about love in today's world, most love in today's world is Svadhisthana love. It's I must possess you, I must own you, you are mine, I'm jealous, you got to be with me all the time, versus, and you must do what I say, or else you don't love me. Anahata love is true love, unconditional love. I will love you even if you no longer want to be with me forever. I will still love you. Christ-like love. This is Anahata type love. Vishuddha is at the base of the little space in your throat, where the little gap is. It's right there. Vishuddha has to do, it's the throat chakra. It has to do with our being able to create, to express ourselves, to speak, to communicate, all of these sorts of things. And then many people have a blockage there, where energy will rise into their body and then not go any further into their head. So if that's the case, a lot of throat massage, throat stroking massage to help the blockage there. Ajna chakra is the third eye, located in the center of the forehead. It is our seeing sense. It's our way of connecting to possibilities, to the future, to really project ourselves and our will and interact with the environment around us. Some people will say it's here. This is a very important energy point as well, but this is also the sleep spot. If you want to mess around with your pets, rub them right here, and more than likely they'll fall asleep. My son, my youngest son, I used to do this, and he'd be out. And even myself, when I have a sleepless night, I'll just send some energy here and give some light massage, and I'll be yawning within a couple minutes and asleep before long. So if this causes me to go to sleep, it's probably not my third eye. It's really here, and I can feel it activate at times. And then finally, you have Sahasrara, which is the crown chakra in the center of the top of the head. This is the portal to the divine. This is our connection to the uber brain as well, to the brain that controls all of us. It's our connection to the divine. It's the oneness. What's interesting about the Sahasrara, the crown chakra, is it has unlimited storage of energy potential. So when we do Tantra massage, we're generally working from the bottom of the body up. We're moving energy from the lower chakras, which is easily accessible and easily generated, to the higher chakras, which are less easily accessible, but can have more power for us in our lives. And any excess energy can go straight to the crown chakra and be stored there. It's a many-petaled, thousand-petaled lotus, something like that. So it has all of the storage capability, and then you can then draw it down into your body to use at a later time. So I think that's what I want to say about that. Nadis. So nadis are considered energy channels. And this is a map. It'll be on the quiz, so make sure you've memorized it. Energies are 72,000 energy channels within the body, and 14 major ones. And when you have clogs in these energetic channels, they're called blockages. And the places where nadis intersect are called marma points. They're also called meridians. They're acupuncture points. This is all the same types of theories of energy flow within the body. Here, let me go back. So these 72,000 energy channels, they're not just flowing within the physical body or in the energetic body, but also in the emotional bodies, the mental bodies. So you're moving energy not just within one of the bodies, but through the bodies. And the places where these connections between the bodies, not just within a particular body, but between the bodies, these are marma points. And the major marma points are the chakras. The chakras are the places where these energy channels intersect most powerfully. And so if we work on cleansing chakras, clearing them out, then we get the best bang for our buck. But there's a point between the second and the third chakra, right in the middle of your lower abdomen, called the khanda, which is where theoretically all 72,000 points intersect. So this point right here is a good place to do some massage, send some energy, because the khanda actually transmutes the energy from the lower chakras to the higher chakras. So it's like the little junction box where everything connects. All right, so I'm going to go one more and then I'll take some questions. So I mentioned marma points. Here's a map of marma points. They're the junction points between the physical and the energetic bodies. They're similar to acupuncture points in Chinese medicine, and there's 107 of them in the body. So these, for me, in my body, they're about the size of a dime. And I can feel when someone touches them or when they're just barely touching them. And they're physical points on my body that extend outside my body. So you don't actually have to touch my body at the marma point for me to feel it. You can touch above the marma point. It's because they do extend up as well. So in a Tantra massage, what we're doing is we're sending energy through these marma points to clean out the blockages from the nadis so that everything is clean and open. It's different, and I'm not a Reiki person, but it's all similar. In Reiki, from the way I understand it, you're sensing energy, you're giving energy, you're clearing blockages. When I do a Tantra massage, it's all about pushing energy through the body. It's like Roto-Rooter. You're trying to just clean out the pipes by sending energy. I don't care if I can sense a blockage or not. I'm just pushing energy through. Sometimes I can sense if energy is really flowing well. I can sense if energy is being absorbed, like sucked in. And I can feel if energy is not flowing at all. So sometimes I just have to like push my energy even a little harder to get the blockages to clear. Sometimes they clear, sometimes they don't. They say it's like melting a sugar cube. You don't want to, you could take a sugar cube and crash it with a hammer, but then bad things are going to happen. But if you have a blockage that's major, you want to melt it like a sugar cube. You want to allow it to dissolve a little bit. It may take more than one try. Some pieces will break off and dissolve, and then you come back and do more. So that's the technique that we do. So before we do this little exercise, any questions so far about anything I've shared? I'll repeat the question. So she asked, is it primarily done as with a partner, as a duo, or can you just practice on yourself? You can definitely practice on yourself. You just move energy through your bodies. I can take and send energy through a particular point in my body and move energy. Once you've learned it, it's easier to practice with other people, but you can actually practice with yourself. And this is actually a good lead into our exercise that we're going to do here in a minute. Do you have a question?
That you were talking about, where everything comes together. Did I misunderstand?
So it's not the point between your shoulders. The spinal column is a conduit of energy. It's the main trunk line, the main cable. But this is the spot where all the energy channels meet. That's a good point. I never really thought of that. Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Is the Dantian the same as the third chakra?
I think so. I think so. I'm not exactly sure. They were talking about that. I think that's right.
It looks, I think where you described it to be sounds like the Dantian also.
I think it's the Khanda is what I was talking about. That junction point is the Dantian. Yes, I think that's right. Don't quote me on that one. But for this little exercise, what you can do, we're going to practice with ourselves a little bit. So what I'd like you to do is just take your hands parallel out in front of you, maybe a foot apart. And we're going to bring them closer together. And you're paying attention to what the energy feels like between your hands. And when you start to feel something, some sort of like little resistance, maybe some tickling energy, some sort of point where you feel something between your hands, stop. And just go out a little bit, in a little bit, see what that feels like. It's almost like you're squishing a very gentle balloon. For some people, it could be farther out, and there's different layers, perhaps. So even though you feel it maybe out a little ways, bring it in and see if you feel something a little closer, and see what that feels like. For most people, when you're about an inch apart, you'll feel something. You'll feel some energy there. For many people, there's something, another layer around 4 or 5 inches apart. But I would encourage you to take it from the farthest point and bring it into that closer point and see what's different. And you're concentrating on that area between your hands. And you're thinking, how does this feel? How does this feel? This is a great exercise to do at a boring lecture. When you're sitting in a class and you're not paying attention, you can do this, and you can do it with your fingertips too. Find out when can I feel the other fingertips? How far away do I have to be? So once you start to feel this energy, now you become sensitized to it. So now you can start to learn to move it within your body. Okay. The other thing I'd like to try is take the center of your hand and put it over the center of your forehead, where your third eye might be located. And again, you can be a little further apart. You can be a little closer in. And what you're looking for is, do you feel anything in the palm of your hand that feels like a little pinprick, a little tickle? For me, sometimes it's a little point. I can feel a little point. And as I move my hand around, I feel this little point drawing on my hand, if you will. For sometimes it's a bigger area. But if you play with this, you can get it sometimes. And if your hand is too big, you can take your fingertip and kind of do the same thing and say, oh, it's somewhere in this area. Where do I feel something interact with my finger? For me, it's right here. And you can take it all the way to your skin and figure out where physically that spot is on your body. This works for each of the chakras. You can figure this out. And it's an exact spot. For me. I used to, when we go through the class at the end, you have to do a test. And you're giving a Tantra massage and you're putting your fingers on the points and sending energy. Everybody wanted to be my partner, because when you go to that point, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the spot right there. And I can do this with myself as well. So I can send that energy as well. So you can train yourself to do this. I'm going to give you some additional resources on this later. Anybody want to share anything about that exercise? Weren't able to feel anything? How many people were able to feel something? How many people really didn't feel much? Okay, a couple. That's fine. It's a sensitivity thing that needs to be developed. Yeah. Yes, yes. So the share was that in her Qigong, is it? A class, that they move energy using their hands, and it's all the similar kind of thing. Yeah, all of these things are the same. Acupuncture, Reiki, all of these things, it's once you have the energetic system of Tantra, that you know what it is, now there's many different modalities to mess with it. Right? Because now you're just moving, you've got the circuit board. Here's the circuit board of how energy moves through the body. Now, how are we going to interact with the circuit board? What experiments would we like to try? Right? And it's really interesting when you start playing with some of this stuff. All right, so Tantra massage in particular, like I said, energetic blockages can manifest as physical symptoms. So by clearing all those blockages out of your system, one, it helps you generally health-wise, but the second thing is it opens you up to move energy through your body much more efficiently. So I was in this course in Estonia for 11 days, and every day I'm giving and receiving massages. And you focus, because we're in our ego, you're focused on giving, right? I need to give this massage right, and I may make sure the techniques are good. But what was much more influential, particularly the first time I took this course, which was in 2018, is receiving a massage every day, cleaning out all my energetic channels. I went from zero, a guy who didn't really believe in any of this stuff, to a guy who's having energetic orgasms like the guy in the video in 10 days, 11 days. How does that happen? Blew my mind. And I have to believe in it because it works. So this time when I went, I was much more focused on the receiving part, on what kind of energy can I receive? What can I do with that energy? How can I move that energy through the body? I still gave as well, but in the first time, the giving, I felt there was a lot of healing going on with my partners. And this time, I felt there was a much more healing going on within me in this particular version of it. We talked about that. We're sending prana, which is life force energy. There's prana in the air around us. There's prana in the food we eat, the water we drink. It's an intelligent sort of energy that helps sustain our lives. If you're cut off from prana, you're going to die, because prana is the life force that helps us. And when I do an Tantra massage, I'm not sending Scott's energy. There's nothing about Scott that's going into that other person. It's energy coming through me. Now, where it comes from, it doesn't matter. It's not my business, but energy comes out through my fingers into the person from somewhere else. And then, like I said, you're moving the energy from lower to higher chakras. Because now, what's different about Tantra massage and why it cannot be practiced in the US is that it includes yoni and lingam massage. So these are the genitals in men and women. The reason being, these are considered divine parts of the body in Tantra, and it's the place where a lot of traumas can be stored. For women, many traumas from life are stored within the yoni. And for men, the muscles around the lingam, this can happen the same way. So Mananda doesn't teach this, but through another school, men also store trauma in their anus and can benefit from Tantra massage to clear these traumas. So what you generally do there is you clean, as you're doing the yoni massage or the lingam massage, you're releasing these traumas that may manifest as numbness. It may manifest as hard points, may manifest as hot spots or painful areas, and you send energy there and then allow that blockage to go away. And then once you clear all the blockages in the body, you can easily generate sexual energy, not just for good times, but to generate sexual energy to populate all the open energy channels through the body, which then manifest and give you, it's like recharging the batteries to the ultimate extreme. Because sexual energy for most people is very easily accessible. And it's very powerful. And so by using the yoni and lingam massage, you're able to do this. So to go one step forward is Tantra spiritual sexuality. This is when you take, so in Tantra massage, one person gives energy, the other person receives. Boom, it's one way. There's no backwards, there's no sensuality, there's no exchange. It's one person doing a practice on the other person who is receiving. When you get into Tantra spiritual sexuality, now you're able to circulate this energy between two bodies. And so now you can take 1 + 1 = greater than 2. That is the goal of these sorts of practices. So that now when you exchange the energy, you have more capacity to expand. Now, conservation of life energy. So one of the things that Tantra talks about is retention of life force, which primarily for men is spent in ejaculation. So Tantra there's a practice called Brahmacharya, which is retention, and it's about retaining that life force, having orgasms but without ejaculation. So that's at a higher level that I'm not going to talk about today, but that's one thing. For women, it's a similar process, about the types of orgasms that they have. And another way that women lose their life force is actually through menstruation. And through Tantra practices, you can actually sublimate the menstruation energy and reduce the amount of flow and reduce the amount of energy loss over time, to where you can get to the point where women can actually not menstruate and still be fertile and able to have children, etc., through these Tantra practices. But that's taught in the Tantra spiritual sexuality courses. The key about moving energy is presence and connection. You have to be connected with that person. You have to move the energy and circulate that energy through the body. And I'll share some resources at the end that you can refer to get more information on this. So my next step, I'm signed up for a course, and by this time next year, I hope to be certified as a teacher of Tantra spiritual sexuality. So I'm going through a series of courses with Somananda so that I will be able to hold workshops, 2 to 5 day workshops, where we will discuss many of these things in more detail and then practice them. And so that's my future path. So some books. If you want to take a picture of this, you can look online, whatever. These are in order of the usefulness that I find them. So the best one is the Enlightened Sex Manual, David Data. Diana Richardson and her husband, Michael Richardson, they've written 3. One is The Heart of Tantric Sex. Then there's Tantric Sex for Men, Tantric Orgasm for Women. And then Somananda has written his book, Tantra Sex for the Soul, which if you were to do some training with him, it's worthwhile reading that book as well. But these are available online. They're very good. If you're interested in that partner related, it also talks about individual practices that you can do in your sexuality. So this is the 5% for, because people want to know this stuff too. So where do you go from here? Well, if you want to really get an in-depth thing about this, in October 30th and November 9th, you can go do the course that I did in Estonia. It's an amazing place. It's Tantra Massage Therapist course. It's 11 days. And you will become a master. There's also Taste of Tantra classes in November and January. These are 2-day classes on Zoom that you can do very easily from here. There is also a spiritual Tantra sexuality, which gets a lot more into what I hinted at. That's about a 5-day class, I think, 3 to 5 day. I don't know. It's a Zoom class that you can take. And then the Tantra Yoga Level 1 course that begins in January, ends in May. I'm actually signed up for that. It is 2 days a week. It's a Wednesday morning for 4 hours and a Sunday morning for 4 hours. It's not yoga like we're going to go to yoga class and do our workout. It's some of that, but it's talking about sleep yoga, Kriya yoga, all the different yoga systems in much, much more detail. It's like learning electrical engineering. Now I've given you sort of this is how the body sort of works. Now, okay, how and why and what are the spiritual practices behind all of this? So I'm really looking forward to participating in that over that time frame. And there are more Tantra Massage Therapist training courses next year as well. You can go to their website. I highly recommend them. You can look at their videos. They're great people. It's very legitimate, very spiritual based. And I can't say enough about them. On another topic, if you want to explore more your Svadhisthana stuff, because we all have things that we need to clear out. Traumas, emotions, energies, all of these things that we don't process well. There is this group called ISTA. Anybody hear of ISTA before? Okay, it's the International Society of Temple Arts. And what it is, it's a consortium. There's no hierarchy. There's about 30 faculty members, maybe 40 around the world that teach these workshops. They're a week-long residential workshops with maybe 50 people. There are always 3 facilitators and then maybe 5 or 6 assistants. And it's a spiritual, sexual, shamanic experience, equal parts all 3. And what this does is it dives deep into you, helping you fall in love with yourself, heal some traumas, set boundaries, explores consent, expressing your desires, and that's all in level 1. And when I went to level 1, they said, okay, what would you like? Here, you have 3 minutes. What would you like to be done for your pleasure? I'm like, I'm allowed to have a desire? What? I'm supposed to be giving. I never, well, now this last time I went in August, I had a list. I'm like, oh, okay, how about this? Would you open to giving me this? How about this? Because I would love that. And so it teaches you to sort of heal those things that are in our lives. Level 2 is also held throughout the world. And that's where you go and you die spiritually. They take away your brain, your heart, everything, and your name. And you spend 3 days in the underworld, and then you're reborn as who you're truly meant to be. And I did mine in level 2 in July of 2019, and it was the first time in my life that I've been whole and complete. And it's stayed with me, so it's good. So ISTA was an important level of my spiritual journey to be able to get me to the point where I can now do the more yoga, more open, because I feel like I've handled a lot of the karma, the traumas of my life, and able to move on. Yeah, so Northern California, there were like 3 or 4 in this area early in the year, and now there's not, but next year there'll be more. Can you hit the slide? I'm stuck. I think we're done. All right, so we have some time for questions. Feel free to ask me anything. I may or may not know the answer.
There was a question on the chat asking if they could get a list of those classes.
Somananda.org. Somananda.org. It's spelled like it sounds, Somananda. They have the list of all the classes there, and ista.life is the other website, ista.life. And they have all the trainings.
So I assume that in a tantric massage that you're not touching, you're just moving your hands near another person's body.
No, you're actually touching. So what's different from what Lisa showed, the video I showed you, that's an energetic massage. That's a Tantra massage too. But not everybody will respond like the way that guy did. He's received many massages, probably from her. There's probably an energetic connection between them, and that is not a typical type of response. For most people, and that type of massage is only massaging the energetic body. For most people, you're actually physically touching the body because most people aren't sensitive to energy, and you're actually using these marma points to push energy. So there's a marma point right in the center of your hand, so I'll take and I'll push that point and send energy. And when I say send energy, where the mind goes, energy flows. So I just envision energy coming out the tip of my finger and going into that person. And if I envision it, then it happens. I don't know how, but it does. And typically it's the thumb and the first 2 fingers. Any of those fingers. On the right side is the emissive, the more yang side of your body. So it's the stronger way to send energy. The left side's the more feminine, the receptive, the yin side, so it receives. But you can still send energy as well with that. But what's nice about the Tantra massage, it is the intersection of the physical and the energetic body and the emotional, mental, causal bodies in some of these points. So you're actually able to move energy not just within the physical body or the energetic body, but you can actually start to affect some of these other bodies. And many times in a Tantra massage, emotions will pop up that were caused by blockages. So that emotional body is able to download and release this blockage that may be holding people back. That is maybe stored in the flesh, but is also present in the person's energetic field. So I've had people with anger, with laughter, with crying, it could be almost anything. So this is why I don't practice. I do not practice Tantra massage for a living. You can't hire me to do this. because it's not legal in the US except in the state of California. In order to touch another person's genitals, you have to be a medical doctor. I'm not. In the state of Virginia, to give a massage, you have to be a certified massage therapist. I am not. So I don't practice this. This is why I want to go into the spiritual Tantra sexuality, because I can practice that in a classroom like this. So there are people who do the astral Tantra massage. I can give you the names of some. They can link with you on Zoom. They're very effective. It's very good. It's, for me, I'm a Taurus. I need the physical piece. So if I would love for somebody in this room, or more than one of you, to go to the class, get trained, and then we'll exchange. That'd be great. But yeah, I don't practice this.
The chat came back and asked for a list of the books and authors on the screen.
It's in the slide. So if
Should I go back?
yeah, if you want to go back there and is it sharing or is it not? It says yes.
It is sharing.
So if you go back to a couple slides,
Go back.
here I might be able to do it on here.
Oh, here we go.
A couple more. There they are. And hopefully they'll be able to screen capture or copy them down. Yeah. So does the person who's giving the massage lose energy and become exhausted? No. But when I give a massage, and these massages take 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. It's a full, you're doing the whole body, you're moving energy, you're doing all this stuff. When I'm done, there's two pieces. I'm so charged with energy, with all the energy flowing through me, that I feel amazing. But my physical body can be a little tiring because I'm leaning over, I'm doing, yes, it is, it's tiring from a physical viewpoint. From energetic viewpoint, I'm not giving one lick of energy, of my energy, to the person. It's all flowing through me. So I'm actually becoming more spiritually charged. But physically, yes, you do a massage. If you're leaning over and doing a massage, concentrating, because it's all about concentration of it, because where the mind goes, energy flows. I'm so focused for 2 hours that, yes, a little bit, it can be a little tiring. You only want to do one of these a day. I mean, you can't do more than that.
Because it's a blockage, what happens to that energy as far as,
That's a good question. So when you release an energy, that's a blockage. It could be a negative energy, and it could be, so what happens to it? All right. So this is why we take these blockages and we transmute them through the body. We're pushing them from the lower chakras to the higher chakras. And when it goes through the khanda, when it gets transmuted, there's no negative in the upper bodies. You're actually changing the form of that energy, the vibration of that blockage, and allowing it to exit up through the crown, which is a holy place. Now, some people take things out the bottom of the feet, but then you don't have that transmutation. Other practices, the way we bring it up through the body, it's transmuting it. Yes, it's going to be gone. Does that make sense? It's not out there in the negative world, etc. No. Now, you still want to take energetic precautions on yourself to make sure that, I always have sort of a positive energy around me. I'm not absorbing energies from other people. I still cleanse the space. There are still you're messing with spirituality things, right? So you want to take precautions to protect yourself energetically. But generally, if you consecrate and get guidance before you do the massage and make sure it's the right thing, then there's some energetic protection that you can have from higher power as well. But yes, you do, by transmuting it, you're It's like turning the light on from dark to light. If you turn the light and raise the vibration level, the dark goes away, right? So in my mind, this is just Scott's impression, all of this I'm saying, but that's the way I understand it. You're bringing it to higher vibration where it can no longer function. Well, before you would have anybody do the massage, you want to see their energy. You want to connect with them. You don't just walk in off the street and say, here, give me a Tantra massage. You want to make sure that they're authentically trained, that they have a spiritual background of some sort, that because, we're delving into sexual things, so there's some shadow things that can pop up. For me, when I'm giving a Tantra massage, it's not erotic for me in any way. I'm giving energy through this person. Now, there may be some erotic experiences that the person's feeling, some sexual energy building, has nothing to do with me. So it's when people say it's one thing and then there's secret hooks or energy channels, that's where you would need to watch out for. But I would just have that communication with the provider, make sure they're trained in a school that is more authentic. There's a school in California that I was going to train with, but they're much more red Tantra. It's much more about sexual energy and I'm really glad that events happened that I went this other way. There is no one practicing that I know of in the US right now. This type of, now in Canada, yeah, California, other than California, I can send you some names. Europe, it's all over the place because Somananda is a European-based school, so they're all over there. So to do it self-care, that's where you would probably want to take, if you took this Tantra Spiritual Sexuality course, if you did the introduction to Tantra, you're being introduced to these principles. What's nice about the Tantra Massage Therapist course is you're paired up with other people in a safe container with instructors walking, and you're able to physically see the points and practice on another person, which actually it helps you practice on yourself better because you now know the points on someone else. Like I can't do the points on my back myself. Physically, I can't do it, but I can do the corresponding parts on the front of my body. So if you learn it using sort of a mannequin, which is another human being, you kind of can learn it on yourself. It translates easier to yourself. There is a remote Tantra massage therapist course. I don't think I had it on there. Maybe I did, but that you can sign up for and learn to do all of this stuff energetically through the internet. And just, you don't have to go to any other course. You can learn this stuff. And like I say, I know of at least 2 people, one in California and one in England, who does astral massage therapy, Tantra massage.
There was a lady on the chat who said that she's an RN and she's practiced with a partner. It's been very successful.
That's great. That's great. Does it make a difference if between the male, female, female, male, etc.? What, in essence, no. I mean, anybody can practice with anyone else. What the school has found is when they teach it, they do male on female, female on male exclusively. If there's extra people, they'll sometimes allow women to practice with women. But they find the best results has to do with the polarity, with the masculine and the feminine to the masculine. And from my experience, there's something to that. Most men don't want to really practice with other men. It's just the thing that in life. But there are some who have. They told a story of one gentleman. He says, "Yeah, I'll practice with a man." So he practiced, he did lingam massage and all that. He says it was fine, but I don't think I want to do it again. It just energetically didn't align as well. So there is that polarity of the masculine and the feminine that can help push energy, because positive, negative versus positive, positive, negative, negative, it's a little different. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Yep, Tom.
Scott, if now you have your own practice of some kind here in Richmond, right?
Yes.
But it does not involve massage per se? Or
No. So I'm a coach. I've been a coach for 6 years. I'm a professional certified coach. I've coached, I've got over 2,600 hours of coaching one-on-one people, hundreds of clients. This is my primary business over the last few years. I was with a national coaching company coaching 6 to 8 people a day. So it was my full-time gig. Since June, I'm now transitioning. I'm developing leadership workshops. I'm going to be doing 2-day leadership workshops. The first one will be in Richmond, probably November, December, where it's a deep dive into leadership using what I've learned in the Air Force, in corporate life. I've been on a board member, and also with coaching people, leaders at all levels from CEOs down, that I'm doing these 2-day workshops to share that knowledge and help people connect with each other. There's a little bit of spirituality in these workshops as well, but I hide it so that people don't really know what they're getting. And so that's one piece. I'm also becoming a spiritual Tantra spiritual sexuality instructor within the next year. And so I'm going to, as I do the leadership workshops, I'm going to start doing the spiritual sexuality workshops as well. And then I do some speaking engagements, that sort of thing. But that's my primary work.
So the tantric practice is at this stage an avocation.
Yes, it's
And,
it was part of my workshop on Scott.
Right. But it's not something you directly use in your leadership and life coaching.
No, but I do, from time to time, I'll come with the right person and we'll be able to do some healing or do some things.
Right.
So it's something that I have a skill set for, but it's not something I do for a profession.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
But thank you. Yeah. So if you know anybody that needs a coach, would like some coaching, I'm a really good coach. And my card is back on the counter there. So that's my primary function. And like I say, my test class, my first one, I've been teaching leadership classes in the aviation space for the last 6 years, but it's a 2-day aviation leadership course that's really well attended. So what I'm doing is taking some of the aviation pieces out and putting in more corporate type pieces, and I'm going to be bringing that to the general public as we move forward. So the first one will be in Richmond. It's going to be like my first trial run on my own, and then I'm going to do the next one in Nashville in January, and then we're going to go from there. Thank you so much for your attention, for your questions, and I'll be around for conversation.
Hello. Thank you very much, Scott. All right, folks. Thank you for being here. We're gonna, as most of you know, the potluck lunch is back, and so before we leave, we've got food in the hallway and by the kitchen there, and you can partake of that whether you brought anything to contribute or not. And next month we have a woman named Smita Garg, who is an expert in Hinduism, and I think she's of Indian herself, Indian American, and in the reincarnation practices and lore of Hinduism, which should be quite interesting. Last month we had the fellow from who did the study of the Chinese groups, and this will be a sort of a parallel to that. And then in November we have Mo Regulinski, who is in the room to my left, and who will be doing a family constellation therapy talk and some exercises, I hope, and that should be quite exciting as well. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting our Richmond, Central Virginia IONS group, and enjoy your lunch, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.